This is the reason why so many career-driven women have problems in the dating world. A lot of these women aren't staying in their physical lane or their mental lane when it comes to the men. Because now you want these men that make all this here money and do all of these here things for you, which is a very small percentage of men. If you say, I want a man that make $100,000, you eliminated 85% of all men. 85%, that leaves you 15%. Half of that 15% is married. 7.5%. Half of them gay. Or live with their alternative lifestyle. Take that down to 3.5%, 4% that you got to choose from. Then you want him over 6 feet. 2%. He can't be obese. 1%. You don't like Sagittarius, Leos, or Cancers. Well, now you at 0.5% of a man that you got to look for. You got to find him, and then he got to like you back. That type of man that makes that type of money has requirements for a woman too that now you have to meet. This is why so many women are struggling that make money when they step out here into the dating world because they're unrealistic for their dating pool.
Yeah, so generally speaking, the more money a woman makes, the less options she has. And that's based on how she views the world. Okay? And generally speaking, the opposite, the polar opposite, the more money a man makes, the more option he has. And that's not even based on him, really. That's just kind of the way it works. Women are in control of the sexual market. They are in full control of the sexual market, right? Meaning they get to say when and where, when sex happens, it's because they've decided to do it. The men are the ones that are usually the ones that are pursuing the woman, usually, until you get to a point in time where women are pursuing you. And they're usually not pursuing you for sex. They're pursuing you for resources. You look like you have the resources that I need or that I want as a woman, so I'm going to go for you. It doesn't have to necessarily be all about money, but you're tall, like you said, you're tall, you're physically attractive. You look like you have, because they don't know your bank account, so you look like you have money. Maybe they've talked to you and you've told them what you do for a living. In the back of your mind, okay, that makes good money. So you fit the standards of what they find to be a strong man, because it kind of boils down to reproducing. Women tend to not want to reproduce with weak men. We're here to reproduce. So they have an internal sense that says this man is weak. Do not have kids with him. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, a lot of these women are terrible at making decisions because they continue to make the same mistake over and over and over and over again. They have 6 kids with 6 different baby daddies. The first one you didn't learn. The second one you didn't learn. The third kid you didn't learn. You didn't learn that you're three dudes in now, and you haven't learned. That's terrible decision making. You just don't know how to you don't make good decisions. You actually need a man. You do need one, but you needed him a long time ago. You needed the man to help you with decision making because you're clearly terrible at making decisions. Now you have the flip side of these women. They've made all these terrible decisions. Well, let's just say they don't have any kids. They don't have any kids, but they want the highest valued man that they can get. which I believe is every woman's, that's what they kind of want. They want the highest thing that they can get. So now you've boiled it down to, I want him to make this much money, $100,000 a year, six figures or whatever like that. I don't know where all this stuff came from, man, because we weren't on that shit before, man. But now all of a sudden, all these women want somebody that makes over six figures. They want him to be over 6 feet tall. They want him to, you know, have nice cars, have a business, have all this other shit, all these attributes. But how do you plan on getting this? If you want this type of man, that means 95% of the women want him too. How are you going to get him? You're not thinking logically. You're not being realistic about what you can attain. And that's the problem with a lot of these women. They're just not being realistic on what they can actually get. You know, and you have to be thinking about stuff like that when you're demanding all these requirements for a man. You know, because like I said, especially if she's one of those women that makes a lot more money. Now you start making all this money, you're naturally want to be with somebody who's better than you in all aspects in life. You know, you want him to be taller than you. You want, if physically, you want him to be stronger than you. And with money, you want him to earn more money than you, or at least the same. But most likely they want you to be above them for the most part. But they'll, you know, women will settle for a man that's making the same as them or close range. You guys are making about the same amount of money, but she's definitely not going to get a dude that's going way below her. You know, if she's making six figures and you're making half that, you're making $50,000 a year, you know, she's probably going to say no to that one, even though you have a steady paying job. Unless she's getting to that point in her life where this is the last resort. She's running out of options. And some of them start realizing that. Some of them start getting, I say they're getting wise. I think they're getting wise. They start running out of options and they're like, I'm just gonna have to take what I can get. You know, I'm upper 40s, I'm upper 50s. You know, I'm just gonna have to take what I can get, man. I can't. I've been so career driven. I've earned all this money, but I don't have a husband. You know, so you guys have to start thinking about that. The women have to start thinking about that when they start thinking about how they want to, you know, be super like career driven. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying that you can't. But you just have to kind of think about that when you're in the dating world, you know, because when women start making more money, I'll tell you the difference between men and women when it comes to earning money. When women get money, they think about totally different things than men think about. When men get money, we're thinking about what we can do for other people, you know, how we can set up other people. You know, maybe you have a big family. How can I set up other people in my family? How can I make sure that my wife doesn't have to work anymore? How can I make sure that my kids don't have to worry about college? When women get money, they kind of think about, it's not all women, okay? Because some women want to have money to support their family because they're the only ones supporting it. They don't actually have a man, so they're the only ones supporting their kids or their parents or whatever. So they do think about stuff like that. But other women, let's say they don't have kids, they don't have any responsibilities. When they start earning a lot of money, they're not thinking about how can I support another person, a man, perhaps. How can I support a man with this money? They're just thinking about basically themselves, how they can live a whatever type of lifestyle. That's what the mindset of a man earning a lot of money versus a woman earning a lot of money, they're completely different.
See, when a man gets money, in general, we think about all the beautiful things we could do for a woman. I could take her here, could buy the Chanel purse. I'm finna just go buy her car. That is in our intrinsic nature to provide. The more money we get, the more we want to provide. But in general, when a woman gets money, she is like, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
I got me.
Yeah.
And then her attitude carries on in a relationship. Even when she do get a man, she treat her man like she don't need a man.
Which is
so if
weird.
you in a relationship, but you tearing him down, you're not soft. He can't extract peace and power from you. How can he go conquer the world? Matter of fact, he don't want to conquer the world. Because why do he want to conquer the world in the first place? What I just tell you, so he could do what? Give it to y'all. But if you not making him feel good, why do I want to go the extra mile to get this money? I don't even want to buy you nothing.
I've heard a man.
So I'll
say
stay
that.
right here. I'll stay in my lane, work this little 9 to 5, pay my part of the bills and stay right here.
Yeah.
You don't inspire me to want more, to give you more, because how you do me.
Yeah.
So you defeating your own bottom line by not being good to him. Because the more you empower him through your divine femininity, the more aplomb he is, the more astute he is, the more tenacious he is. He will apply that temerity and become successful, and then you will reap the benefits of his success.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I said in other videos before, like the more you pay attention to your purpose in life, the better people can benefit off of you. And that is kind of a man's that is our goal, you know. How can I provide the best lifestyle for everyone? How can everyone benefit? If I work hard now, then my kids have to work less. They don't have to work as hard. They're still gonna have to work hard. You still want to be able to teach them work ethics, but they don't have to go through what I went through because I did it. So now I can teach them how to do it. If I do this right now, this certain job that I'm doing now, or do this business or open this business, I could teach my friend how to open the business. I could show him, hey, don't even worry about doing this and that. I already did it. Let me show you how to do it. You know, well, I don't know how to open up an LLC, or I don't know how to do this. I don't know. Don't worry, I know how to do it. I did it already. I researched it. I went through it. I did all this failure stuff. So I'm going to show you how to do it. You're still gonna have to do the work, but you get a little bit of, you know, a little pathway to the front. You get to the front of the line. And you could do it from there instead of being all the way in the back like I was. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna work real hard right now. So by the time that I'm, you know, 40, 45 years old, my wife is not worrying about her retiring or whatever like that. I could just retire her. You know what I'm saying? I could just retire her whenever. She doesn't have to continue to work. You know what I mean? These are things that men are thinking about, and women are not necessarily thinking about that. They're not thinking about retiring their husband. You know, I'm going to earn all this money so I can retire my husband. It's not really what they're thinking about, because when they start earning all this money, they want somebody at the same level to them or higher. Most likely higher than them, because they want someone, they're hypergamous, right? They want someone that's naturally kind of better than them. Not better as in you're just a better person than them or whatever, but there's certain attributes that they want you to be better at. So that's just something to think about, guys, when you're going on dating. And for the women out there, when you're dating, if you're thinking about having all this money, you're usually thinking about it just so you can have it for yourself. And for the men, if you're thinking like that, then that's not good. If you just want to earn a bunch of, you want to be a millionaire for no fucking reason, not to help people, not to help your family, not to help your peers, that's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You need to start rethinking of what you want all this money for. Why do you want all this money? It should be so that you and everyone around you can live better. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share the video. And I'll see you in the next video. Appreciate y'all watching. Peace.